Unlock the secrets of energy manipulation before it's everywhere. What if everything you believe about reality being fixed is wrong? What if, quietly and steadily, your attention, breath, and heart are already shaping the world around you, and with a few simple, repeatable skills, you can turn that influence from vague intuition into a practical ability? In the next 90 seconds, you will do a short test that people call a proof exercise. It's not a magic trick, it's a simple, safe practice you can repeat to begin feeling the subtle currents you already carry. Do it now. Sit up straight. Place both feet flat on the floor. If you're driving, stop and come back later, safety first. Rest your hands in your lap or on your knees. Close your eyes if comfortable. Begin a 5-5-5 breathing cycle. Inhale gently for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds. If 5 seconds feels too long, use 3-3-3. If it feels too short and you're experienced, you can extend to 7-7-7, but always stay comfortable. Repeat this cycle 3 times. After your third exhale, bring your right hand to the center of your chest, over your heart. Keep breathing softly. Think of one small thing that you genuinely appreciate. It can be a person, a sunrise, a cup of coffee. Let that feeling spread, not forced, just soft. Hold the feeling for a breath or two. Now, extend both hands in front of you at about 6 inches apart. Slowly move them apart to about a foot, then back toward each other, hovering them at approximately 6 to 10 inches, palm facing palm. Move with curiosity, not expectation. Do you feel a slight pressure, warmth, tingling, or a subtle resistance like 2 magnets? Some people sense nothing at first. That's normal. Just observe without judgment. Keep your hands there for 30 seconds. When you're ready, slowly bring them to rest, open your eyes, and note what you felt. Words like warmth, coolness, pulsing, heaviness, lightness, or nothing at all are all valid observations. If you noticed anything, even the faintest tingle, type energy mastered in the comments. If you felt nothing, type starting instead. This helps me and everyone watching track how sensitive beginners are becoming. This is the only time I'll ask you to comment in this video. If you felt something at all, pause and let that land. That sensation is not mystical nonsense. It's a felt change in your body and attention. Many people call it a shift in their field. Others call it alignment, coherence, or simply awareness. Whatever you call it, you just practiced moving your nervous system from scattered to centered. That shift is what will train, measure, and expand. Before we go further, this is not medical, legal, or financial advice. These practices are intended to support well-being and performance, not to replace professional care. If you have respiratory, cardiovascular, or other serious health conditions, consult a healthcare professional before attempting breath retention or intense protocols. Breathwork progressions I teach will start gentle and include beginner, intermediate, and advanced variations for safety. Now, why did that short exercise often produce a tangible feeling? There are several ways to explain what you just did, and none of them require mystical claims. Think of your body as a radio receiver and transmitter at the same time. Your nervous system produces measurable electrical and magnetic signals. Your heart, in particular, generates an electromagnetic field that can be recorded several feet away. Your brain produces organized electrical patterns that correspond to attention and intention. When you deliberately slow and deepen your breath, focus attention, and evoke an emotion like gratitude, you change those patterns in predictable ways. The felt sensation, tingling or pressure between your palms, a warmth at the chest, is a somatic marker that your system has shifted. Let's put a scientist's lens on this without overstating it. Some researchers propose models where tiny structures inside neurons, microtubules, might support quantum-like processes. This idea is often referred to as the Penrose-Hameroff hypothesis. It's controversial and far from proven. Many scientists disagree, and the hypothesis remains speculative. Likewise, biologist Bruce Lipton has popularized the idea that beliefs affect cellular biology through epigenetic pathways. His work invites curiosity, but should be read as provocative more than conclusive. Rupert Sheldrake proposed morphic fields as a hypothesis for patterns in nature. That idea is debated and not widely accepted in mainstream science. HeartMath research, by contrast, has produced reproducible data showing that heart rhythms and heart-brain coherence correlate with cognitive and emotional states. HeartMath labs report measurable shifts in heart rate variability and subjective well-being when people practice heart-focused breathing and coherence techniques. Joe Dispenza and other teachers have documented experiential reports and group data from breathwork and meditation practices. Those data are often compelling on a phenomenological level, but should be interpreted cautiously as anecdotal or experimental, rather than definitive proof of causation. So we have three things converging: measurable physiological fields, like the heart's electromagnetic output, theories and hypotheses that suggest deeper mechanisms, some speculative, some contested, and centuries of contemplative traditions, qi cultivation, Taoist breath practices, Reiki, that describe the same phenomena in different language. The through line is simple. Attention and physiological regulation influence how your system interacts with its environment. That's powerful. It's also humble. It means you can learn it, and you can test it.
This system we'll build together centers around three core principles: focus, resonance, and coherence. Focus is where you aim your attention. Focus is not willpower alone. It's attention trained like a lens. The lens both narrows and clarifies. When you place your attention on a single image, a desired outcome, or a clear sensory cue, you amplify the signal coming from your nervous system. Resonance is about harmonizing. It's the idea that like frequencies interact more strongly. In practical terms, resonance means matching the felt quality you wish to cultivate: calmness, vitality, clarity, in both body and emotion, so your internal field aligns with that frequency. Coherence is the state when focus and resonance lock into a stable pattern across systems. Heart rhythm, breath, and brainwave patterns fall into a coordinated rhythm. Coherence is measurable. Practitioners report smoother heart rate variability and clearer decision-making when they maintain coherent states. Across all three principles, practice matters. Small, repeated actions compound. That's why we'll layer quick micro-practices you can do anywhere, with deeper protocols that require more time and intentional progression. Right now, you've already experienced an elementary form of focus: the gratitude image, resonance, the felt warmth, and early coherence, synchronized breath and heart attention. That micro-experience is what we call a proof. It's not a final proof of metaphysical powers. It's a somatic proof that attention and physiology interact in ways you can feel and then refine. Let's cement that with the first set of micro-practices you can do daily. For each practice, I'll give beginner, intermediate, and advanced progressions so you can scale safely and track progress. Practice A, quick coherence, 60 seconds. Beginner, sit upright, breathe 3-3-3 3 times, place one hand on your heart, recall one thing you appreciate, hold for 30 seconds, note sensations. Intermediate, use 5-5-5 breathing for 3 cycles, hand on heart, expand appreciation into a full sensory memory, what you heard, smelled, felt, hold for 60 seconds. Advanced, 7-7-7 breathing for 4 cycles, heart focus with gratitude plus visualization of a specific intention, hold for 90 seconds, then transition into 3 minutes of slow walking while maintaining the felt quality. Practice B, palm sensing, 2 to 3 minutes. Beginner, hands 6 inches apart, palm gap practice for 30 seconds, eyes closed, move slowly. Intermediate, hands 6 to 10 inches apart, alternate slowly moving them closer and further while maintaining heart-focused breath. Record sensations on a scale of 0 to 5. Advanced, add subtle tonal humming, low frequency. Keep palms at 8 to 10 inches for up to 2 minutes. Note any directional pulls or temperature shifts. Practice C, 60-second reframe, mental. Beginner, identify one limiting thought you noticed today. Replace it with a short positive statement.
Repeat it quietly for 60 seconds while breathing in 3-3-3. Intermediate, use 5-5-5 breathing. Pair the positive statement with a simple visual image for 90 seconds. Advanced, after visualization, write down immediate actions you could take in the next 24 hours to align with that intention. Safety notes for these basic practices. Never force breath beyond comfort. If you feel lightheaded, return to normal breathing and sit down. If you have cardiovascular or respiratory conditions, consult a medical provider before attempting breath holds or extended breath work. This is not medical advice. One reason these micro-practices matter is measurability. I want you to start documenting what you do and what changes. Here is a simple journaling template you can use right away. Morning baseline before practice. Rate sleep quality 1 to 5, stress level 1 to 5, focus 1 to 5, energy 1 to 5. Practice performed, name, duration, progression, beginner, intermediate, advanced. Immediate sensations, list words and a 0 to 5 intensity scale. Post-practice rating, immediately after. Stress 1 to 5, focus 1 to 5, energy 1 to 5. Notes, objective observations. Did a plant sway? Did the compass needle move? Did someone respond differently?
Repeat this daily for a week to create a baseline, then compare week to week. I promised experiments you can run that are low risk and verifiable. Here are 3 starter experiments. Later, we'll expand these into controlled logs and templates, but you can begin simple trials now to see whether subtle patterns shift with consistent practice. Experiment 1, the plant influence trial. Choose 2 identical potted plants, place them in similar light and water conditions. Name them A and B. For 7 days, spend 2 minutes each morning practicing quick coherence while facing plant A, sending neutral but focused attention and gentle care. Do not practice near plant B. Water both equally and take daily photos from the same angle. After 7 days, compare growth, leaf color, and general vigor. Document photos, dates, and your practice log. Small differences do not prove causation, but systematic, documented trials can reveal patterns worth deeper testing. Experiment 2, the compass test. Place a small compass on a flat surface. Stand at a consistent distance and orientation for each trial. Perform a 60-second palm sensing practice and then hold still while noting any needle deviation for 30 seconds. Repeat trials blind. Have a friend record while you practice with eyes closed. Log the compass readings and conditions. If you record shifts beyond normal fluctuation, repeat the test across several days and environmental controls to rule out drafts and electromagnetic interference. Experiment 3, the candle influence. Place a lit candle on a stable surface. From a distance of 2 to 3 feet, perform a 1-minute coherence practice.
Observe whether the flame flickers, leans, or changes behavior more than it does during control periods when you perform a neutral action, like reading the weather. Record video so you have objective footage. Ensure fire safety. Never leave candles unattended, and never perform breathwork close enough to blow on the flame directly. These initial experiments are simple and designed to teach you 2 things: how to document and how to control for environmental variables. Always take notes, use photos or video, and design a control period so you compare practice against non-practice. At this point, you may be thinking, is this really science or is it just subjective variation? That's a fair question. Much of what we'll do sits at the boundary between subjective experience and measurable physiological change. Heart math studies show that heart rhythm patterns shift with emotional regulation and breathing. Other ideas, like the Penrose-Hameroff microtubule model, are speculative and invite further research. My promise is not to present speculative models as proven fact, but to offer practices that change how you feel, how you perform, and how you document those changes. Where objective differences emerge, we'll double down on rigorous methods. Where subjective reports dominate, we'll use repetition and community data to understand variance. Let me tell you a very short story to anchor this in real human terms. A woman I'll call Maya was a junior product manager at a tech startup. She described chronic overwhelm and a habit of reactive anxiety in meetings. She began with 60-second reframe exercises each morning, 5 minutes of quick coherence at lunch, and nightly journal logs. Within 3 weeks, meeting notes she took were clearer. Her boss remarked on her steadier presence. Her pulse during stressful tasks measured slightly lower. She didn't magically change her job or create external miracles. She shifted how she appeared and felt, and that led to different decisions and social reactions, small ripple effects that compounded. That's the practical side of energy work. It's not about instant supernatural wins. It's about shifting your inner operating system so you act differently, and the world responds. As you begin this learning curve, expect 2 kinds of progress. First, somatic sensitivity will grow. Fingers, palms, chest, and breath will become more vivid and reliable as feedback channels. Second, behavioral change will follow. You'll identify clearer actions, sustain attention longer, and your decision-making will sharpen. These are measurable and practical outcomes. Now I want to orient you toward daily habit framing. Energy mastery is not something you do for 10 minutes and then forget. It's a set of rituals that compound. Here's a simple daily template to start integrating the basic work without overhauling your life. Morning, 5 to 15 minutes, quick coherence, 60 to 180 seconds, 60-second reframe, hydration.
Optional micro-movement or cold splash for alertness. Midday, 2 to 10 minutes. Midday reset. Palm sensing, 1 cycle of 5-5-5, journaling with baseline metrics, gratitude reflection. You don't need to be perfect. The key is consistency. Start at the beginner level and mark progress weekly. For breathwork, progress slowly. Beginner, 3-3-3, intermediate, 5-5-5, advanced, 7-7-7, or variations with gentle holds only if you have no contraindications and have built capacity over several weeks. When you introduce cold exposure or intermittent fasting later, I'll give explicit safety progressions and contraindications. One of the most important early lessons is how to interpret the sensations you'll feel. Here's a quick primer on common sensations and what they often indicate. Warmth in the chest, often associated with emotional engagement and heart coherence. Tingling between palms, increased peripheral circulation or focused attention on hands, sometimes an interoceptive awareness of subtle changes. Pressure or magnetic feeling can be the brain recognizing patterned attention, often subjective but repeatable with practice. Nothing at all. Normal, especially early on. Sensitivity varies wildly. The absence of sensation is not failure. Throughout your practice, practice skepticism paired with curiosity. Don't accept every impression as authoritative. Test it, document it, repeat it. That's how subjective experiences become reliable tools, through disciplined observation. We will also address practical biohygiene and boundary work early on. Energy hygiene means clearing your immediate space and setting energetic boundaries, not by shouting to the air, but through simple, repeatable actions that regulate your attention and environment. A short room sweep practice, grounding breaths, and a personal intent statement you can say quietly to re-establish your field after stressful interactions. Ethics is woven into this. Never attempt to influence another person with clear consent. These practices are for your alignment and presence, not for covert manipulation. As you integrate these early protocols, you'll want practical measures of progress. Aside from the plant, compass, and candle experiments, start tracking behavioral markers. Are you more decisive? Are you sleeping differently? Are your relationships responding? These are indirect but important measures of change. We're now standing at a useful threshold. You have felt a first shift, you know the basic reasoning behind why this might work, and you've got starter practices and experiments to begin documenting effects. Ahead lies the real training, building a systematic daily program, learning advanced sensing drills, exploring sound and breath as amplifiers, and applying these skills to specific life goals like workflow, creativity, and relationships.
But before we dive deeper into advanced tools, biohacks for sleep, nutrition, cold exposure, and precise experimental protocols, we need to expand our understanding of the physiology and the safe ways to push the edge of your capacity. To bridge that gap, in the next section we'll map the body's primary signal systems in plain language, examine the most careful research that links heart rhythms to cognitive states, and unpack the major hypotheses about how tiny neural structures could contribute to large-scale changes in perception and action. We'll also lay out strict safety rules for any breath hold or cold exposure progressions, and offer a concrete week 1 training schedule you can actually follow while working a full-time life. Hold that curiosity and that evidence-minded skepticism. The frontier we're exploring is as much about disciplined practice as it is about open inquiry. You've opened the door. In the next phase, we'll walk through the machinery, heart fields, brain rhythms, and the ancient maps that described energy long before modern instruments, and we'll translate those maps into step-by-step protocols you can practice, measure, and refine. We left with the doorway open. Now we walk through the machinery. To train energy, you must understand what actually moves in your body and how to measure change. This section maps the primary signal systems you already use every day in plain language and shows exactly how they connect to the micro-practices that follow. The body's signal systems, a practical map. There are 3 primary physiological systems you'll use again and again: the heart field, the nervous electrical network, and the breathing vascular system. Think of them as 3 radio channels you can tune, blend, and amplify. 1. The heart field. What the instruments show. The heart generates an electromagnetic field that can be recorded outside the chest using sensitive equipment. Heart rate variability, the tiny fluctuations between heartbeats, correlates with emotional regulation and resiliency. Organizations like HeartMath publish peer-reviewed and applied research showing that deliberate pacing of breath and attention can change heart rate variability patterns and subjective well-being. Use the qualifier. Research suggests heart rhythm coherence correlates with clearer cognitive processing and calmer affect, but this does not prove metaphysical causation. How it matters for you. When you practice heart-focused breathing and evoke a positive feeling, you change the rhythm and amplitude of that field. That shift is one reliable mechanism by which your internal state becomes more coherent. The felt warmth, chest expansion, and steadiness you experience are markers of a physiological change that's measurable. 2. The nervous electrical network, brain and peripheral nerves. What the instruments show. The brain produces electrical patterns, oscillations like alpha, theta, beta waves, measurable with EEG. These patterns reflect attention, relaxation, and cognitive modes. Some scientists propose models where subcellular structures, like microtubules, could participate in quantum-like processes, the Penrose-Hameroff hypothesis. That hypothesis is controversial and far from settled. Treat it as an interesting theoretical model, not established proof. How it matters for you. When you narrow attention, the brain shifts from scattered beta patterns to more organized rhythms. That sharpening changes motor output, perception, and decision-making.
You'll learn to recognize and influence that shift through breath, posture, and focused imagery. 3. The breathing and vascular signals. What the instruments show, breath rhythm directly modulates vagal tone and the baroreflex, influencing HRV and cortical arousal. Slowing breath tends to increase parasympathetic tone, calming, and promote coherence between heart and brain. How it matters for you, breath is your most accessible lever. Controlled breathing produces reliable, immediate shifts in physiology. That's why 5-5-5 or 3-3-3 breath cycles are the foundational tool we return to across progressions. A few key cautions before practices continue. Always use gradual progressions, begin with beginner variations, and only move to longer breath holds, deeper cold exposure, or longer fasts after weeks of consistent practice, and if you have health concerns after seeking medical guidance. This is not medical, legal, or financial advice. Practices are designed to support well-being and performance. They are not treatments. Never use these skills to influence other people without clear, informed consent. If you feel vertigo, chest pain, faintness, or severe discomfort during breathwork or cold exposure, stop immediately and seek professional care. Week 1, a detailed, easy-to-follow starter schedule. Your first week creates the baseline. The aim is consistency, simple measurement, and building tolerance. Each day takes 10 to 25 minutes total, spread across morning, midday, and night. Daily baseline checklist before morning practice. Sleep quality, 1 to 5. Resting pulse, measure for 30 seconds or use a wearable. Morning mood, 1 to 5. Caffeine, alcohol intake, none, low, moderate. Hydration, glass of water on waking, yes or no. Day 1 to 7 daily plan, beginner progression. Morning, 5 to 10 minutes. Hydrate, 8 to 12 ounces of water. Quick coherence, beginner 3-3-3 breathing, x3 cycles. Hand on heart. Recall one small gratitude image for 30 seconds. Note sensations. 60-second reframe. Identify one limiting thought. State a short positive replacement for 60 seconds while breathing 3-3-3. Midday, 2 to 5 minutes. Midday reset. Stand, feet flat, shake arms for 30 seconds, then palm sensing for 60 seconds. Hands 6 to 10 inches apart. Note sensation on a 0 to 5 scale. Evening, 5 to 10 minutes. Wind down coherence. 3 minutes of 5-5-5 breathing if comfortable, or 3-3-3 if not. Journal baseline metrics and immediate sensations.
Weekly checkpoint, end of day 7. Compile baseline week entries in photos and video for any experiments you started. Rate overall shifts, sleep quality, stress, focus, energy. Write one paragraph about any notable interpersonal or task performance changes. Beginner, intermediate, and advanced progressions, exactly how to scale. Breathwork. Beginner, 3-3-3 cycles x3, or 5-5-5 cycles x1 to 2 if comfortable. Keep each breath slow and unforced. Rest between cycles. Intermediate, 5-5-5 cycles x3 to 4. Add 1-2 gentle breath holds, no more than 10 seconds, only if you're comfortable, seated, and not dizzy. Advanced, 7-7-7 breathing for up to 4 cycles. Add longer coherent breath sequences, for example 7-5-7, after at least 4 weeks of consistent intermediate practice. Advanced breathwork may include gentle retention under professional supervision only. Never force a breath hold beyond comfortable limits. Stop if lightheaded. Palm sensing and hand practice. Beginner, hands 6 to 8 inches apart for 30 to 60 seconds. No humming, just attention and gentle curiosity. Intermediate, hands 6 to 10 inches. Alternate slow approach/withdraw for 90 to 120 seconds. Record intensity 0 to 5. Advanced, hands up to 12 inches. Add low tonal humming and time blocks of up to 2 to 3 minutes. Try moving palms around an object, plant, compass, and note directionality, temperature changes, or resistance. Cold exposure, gradual, safety first. Beginner, cold splash, 15 to 30 seconds cold water on the face or wrists in the morning, no more than 45 seconds total. Intermediate, contrast, 30 to 60 seconds cold shower at the end of a warm shower, once per session. Advanced, cold immersion, only after 4 to 8 weeks of intermediate practice and with medical clearance if you have cardiac issues. Begin with 60 to 90 seconds of immersion or cold plunge. Progress slowly and always with someone nearby for safety. Intermittent fasting, safe progressions. Beginner, 12-12 window, 12 hours fasting overnight, 12 hours eating. Intermediate, 14-10 window, 2 to 3 non-consecutive days per week. Advanced, 16-8 or time-restricted eating after at least 1 month of toleration testing. Avoid extended fasts without medical oversight. Nutrition and hydration basics, what to prioritize now. Hydrate on waking and throughout the day. Dehydration reduces cognitive clarity and peripheral sensitivity. Prioritize proteins and healthy fats in the morning to support stable blood glucose and steady attention. Minimize processed sugars and alcohol during the first 30 to 90 days while you're training sensitivity.
Consider a simple micronutrient checklist: magnesium, vitamin D, omega-3s. Discuss with a healthcare provider before supplementing. Tracking and journaling templates you can use today. Use a simple table or a dedicated notebook. Below is a daily template you can copy into a journal or spreadsheet.
Daily Energy Journal, Minimalist Template. Date: sleep quality, 1 to 5. Morning resting pulse in BPM. Morning mood, 1 to 5. Practices performed, name and duration. Progression level, beginner, intermediate, advanced. Immediate sensations, words: warmth, tingling, pressure, nothing, etc. Immediate sensations intensity, 0 to 5. Objective notes: photos, videos taken, yes, no. Compass reading, yes, no. Post-practice ratings: stress, 1 to 5. Focus, 1 to 5. Energy, 1 to 5. Notes on behavior, interaction. Did something feel different at work or with partner? Action items for tomorrow. A precise experiment protocol you can copy and use. Experiment: enhanced plant influence trial, 21-day controlled log. Materials: 2 identical potted plants, same species, same size. Controlled light source or same window exposure. Same watering schedule and water source. Camera or smartphone for daily photos from the same angle and distance. Journal to log daily interactions. Procedure: Day 0. Set up both plants side by side in identical conditions. Take photos from the same angle. Label them A and B. Record baseline measures: leaf count, approximate height, number of new shoots, soil moisture, and pot position. Daily, days 1 through 21. Plant A intervention: spend 2 minutes in quick coheres facing plant A. Beginner 333 first week, intermediate 555 week 2, advanced 777 week 3, with hands open and directed toward the plant but not touching. Plant B control: do not perform any coherence practice near plant B. Care for both plants equally otherwise. Water both plants equally and on the same schedule. Take daily photos of both plants at the same time of day. Log soil moisture, any new growth, and your practice notes. Analysis after 21 days. Compare before-after photos. Use blind comparison. Ask a friend who did not participate to note which plant appears healthier. Quantify growth measures, leaf count, height, and document results. Repeat the study with swapped conditions. Now practice with plant B to control for positional effects. Compass experiment, a rigorous variation. Materials: sensitive compass on a non-metallic surface. Video camera or smartphone for recording. A friend to operate as a blind observer. Procedure: set compass on a neutral surface away from electronics and drafts. Mark a set position on the table and camera angle that captures compass and practitioner. Run 3 control video recordings with no practice behavior. Example: practitioner sits quietly reading or leaves the room. Then perform 3 practice trials. 60 seconds of palm sensing or coherence practice at a fixed distance and orientation. Record. Have the blind observer code the compass needle angle during each trial from the video using timestamps. Repeat across multiple days and environmental conditions. Use stats: average needle angle across controls versus practice trials. If differences appear, expand trials and rule out external interference.
Electronics microtest. Phone screen/oscillator. Materials: small low-power LED or simple oscillator circuit, battery-powered, placed on a non-metal surface. Video recorder. Procedure: set up device and record a baseline for 60 to 120 seconds with no intervention. Perform a 1-minute coherence practice at a fixed distance, recording device behavior. Repeat trials and document whether any consistent change in device output occurs during practice versus control. Control for battery levels, temperature, and vibrations. How to run careful, credible trials. Use blind or double-blind where possible. Have someone else randomize when you do practice sessions and record outcomes without telling you which is which. Record everything: video, timestamps, environmental notes, wind, drafts, nearby electronics. Repeat trials multiple times across days and different conditions. Use a friend or community for replication to reduce bias. Expect noisy data. Small effects require careful replication. Now, deeper practice sequences. The core system expanded. We introduced focus, resonance, and coherence. Here we build step-by-step protocols you can use in training blocks of increasing complexity. Each block is designed to create reliable feedback and build measurable skill. Core Block 1. Stabilize attention, weeks 0 to 2. Goal: create a reliable baseline of focused attention. Daily practice, 10 to 15 minutes total. Morning: 3-minute attention training. Sit upright. Focus on the sensation of the breath at the nostrils for 5 rounds of 1 minute. Return gently when the mind wanders. This is classic attention training with quantifiable durations. Midday: 2-minute palm sensing check. Hands 6 to 8 inches. Note a sensation. Evening: 5-minute journaling capturing 3 moments you noticed improved focus during the day. Outcome metrics. Duration: you can maintain single-point attention without lapsing, measured in 30-second increments. Journal count of moments where focus improved, 0 to 3 daily. Core Block 2, build resonance, weeks 2 to 5. Goal: connect emotional tone to attention. Daily practice, 15 to 20 minutes. Morning: 5-5-5 breathing 3 times with hand on heart. Recall and hold a vivid sensory memory of gratitude for 90 seconds. Midday: embodiment walk, 3 minutes. Slow walking while holding the felt quality, for example calmness, and noticing posture, steps, and breath. Evening: 60-second reframe. Pick one limiting story from the day and replace it with an action-based intention. Journal immediate changes. Outcome metrics. Self-rated warmth/pleasantness after practice, 0 to 5. Number of days the mood held through midday tasks. Core Block 3, lock in coherence, weeks 5 to 12. Goal: synchronize heart, breath, and attention into a durable state. Daily practice, 20 to 30 minutes. Morning: 10 minutes of coherence practice, 5-5-5 times 4, heart focus, extended gratitude, and visualization of one clear intention for the day, a short specific outcome.
Midday, 3-minute reset using palms or grounding. Evening, 5-minute review. Note 3 actual actions you took that aligned with the morning intention. Outcome metrics. HRV measurement if you use a wearable. Look for increased variability and smoother rhythms. Behavioral markers. Decisions made that were more deliberate, feedback from peers about steadiness, task completion changes. Advanced block. Integration and application, weeks 12 plus. Goal: apply energy coherence to longer projects and relationships. Weekly practice. 2 30-45-minute sessions of integrated practice combining breath, sound, walking, and deliberate action mapping. Daily micro-practices retained, 10 to 20 minutes per day. Application projects. Apply a coherence protocol before major meetings. Use energy anchoring before presentations or creative sessions. Practice presence exercises in short 3-minute rituals before calling or partnering sessions. Advanced toolkits and biohacks you can adopt safely. Sound and tonal work. Beginner: humming for 30 to 60 seconds after a coherence breath sequence. Hum at a comfortable pitch and notice throat vibration. Intermediate: low-frequency vowel tones for 2 to 3 minutes while palms are open towards an object. This can increase perceived resonance. Advanced: work with a trained sound practitioner for extended tonal layering. Posture and micro-movement. Micro-adjustments change attention. Practice reset posture, feet grounded, spine long, shoulders relaxed, for 30 seconds every 90 minutes to recenter attention and circulation. Add small mobility routines to reduce tension that interferes with sensation, e.g. shoulder rolls, neck mobility, hip sways for 3 to 5 minutes. Sleep hygiene for sensitivity. Prioritize consistent sleep windows. Black out your room and limit screen exposure 60 to 90 minutes before bedtime. Evening coherence practice can improve pre-sleep calming and enhance dream recall, which is useful for noticing subtle changes. Supplements and nutrition, evidence-minded suggestions. Consider magnesium for sleep quality, omega-3s for cognitive function, vitamin D for mood. Consult a provider. Reduce heavy alcohol consumption and refined sugar consumption during training periods. They blunt vagal tone and sensitivity. Cold exposure, exact progression and safety notes. Safety first rules. Always perform immersions when sober and with someone nearby. Start with short exposures, 15 to 30 seconds, and increase by no more than 15 to 30 seconds every 3 to 7 days as tolerated. Avoid cold plunges if you have uncontrolled hypertension, serious cardiac conditions, or syncope history without medical clearance. Progression, weeks 0 to 1, cold splash or wrist immersion, 15 to 30 seconds. Weeks 2 to 4, contrast showers ending with 30 to 60 seconds cold. Weeks 5 plus, supervised cold plunge up to 60 to 90 seconds. Gradually extend time only with consistent adaptation.
Breath retention micro-progression. Begin with mild holds no longer than 10 seconds at intermediate stage only after several weeks of consistent practice. Advanced retention should be learned with an experienced instructor, never alone, and avoided if you have seizure history or cardiopulmonary disease. Shielding, grounding, and energy hygiene, practical protocols. Room sweep, 2 minutes. Walk the room slowly with hands open and palms facing the perimeter. Use the intention statement, I clear this space of heavy stuck energy and invite clarity. This is a focused attention ritual to recalibrate your own orientation to space, not a supernatural claim. Personal shield, 30 to 60 seconds. Sit upright. Breathe 5-5-5 twice. Visualize a soft, permeable field around you that lets in good information but holds firm boundaries. Repeat a brief consent mantra for yourself. I maintain my boundaries. I act with consent. Use this before stressful interactions. Grounding, 30 to 60 seconds. Stand with feet hip width, knees soft. Press feet into the ground and imagine roots growing into the earth. Breathe steadily. This simple somatic action reduces anxiety and recenters attention. Ethics and consent, a short but essential guide. Never attempt to influence someone without explicit consent. Use energy work to manage your presence, not to manipulate behavior. If you practice with others, group coherence sessions, distance protocols, always obtain informed consent and debrief participants on what you'll do. If you're asked to assist someone with emotional or health issues, refer to qualified professionals when appropriate. Energy work can be a supportive complement, but not a replacement for medical care. Maintain confidentiality and integrity in group settings. 3 more verifiable experiments to deepen credibility. Experiment 4, the blind room air trial. Goal: test whether your focused coherence practice correlates to measurable changes in a room's ionization or particulate sensor readings. Low-cost air particle counters exist. Protocol: place a particulate sensor in a room and allow it to stabilize for baseline. Conduct blind sessions. Friend randomizes 5 time segments when you perform a coherence practice in an adjacent room and 5 control segments when you are absent. Record sensor data across segments. Use video recording for timestamps. Compare data for consistent patterns. Control for airflow, HVAC cycles, and human movement. Experiment 5, the phone rotation test. Check whether focused presence influences a small, sensitive gyroscope in a phone when placed on a soft surface. Protocol: place phone with gyroscope app recording micro-rotations on a cushion. Run blind sequences, control versus practice. Record gyroscope data and compare aggregated variance across conditions. Repeat across multiple phones and locations to rule out device-specific artifacts.
Experiment 6, the group coherence test. Goal: evaluate whether a short group coherence practice correlates with improved task performance. Protocol: recruit a small group, 5 to 10, for online study. Assign a baseline timed task, for example, a simple cognitive test or puzzle. Randomize sessions where the group performs a 3-minute coherence practice versus sessions with no practice. Compare group performance metrics, time to completion, error rates across conditions. Use repeated measures and statistical comparison. How to report results. Be scientific in language. Present mean and standard deviation across trials. Report environmental controls and blind or randomization procedures. Use neutral language. We observed a pattern rather than we proved. Replicate before claiming broader validity. Case studies and day-in-the-life examples. Practical narratives. Case Study 1, Maya, expanded. We met Maya briefly before. Let's go deeper. She began with the Week 1 template while working full-time. Her daily journal included objective markers, morning resting pulse, 3 daily micro-practices, and notes about meeting performance. By Week 3, she reported reduced racing thoughts during meetings, a decline in midday caffeine from 2 cups to 1, small increases in task completion and clarity. Maya's measurable changes: resting pulse decreased by 3 to 5 BPM on average during practice weeks. Her HRV wearable showed smoother variability during coherence sessions. Colleagues noted improved presence in 3 separate meetings. Outcome: Maya didn't bend reality overnight. She changed posture, internal orientation, and breathing patterns that translated into steadier outward behavior and different social signals. That altered how people responded to her, creating better meeting dynamics and clearer decision-making. Case Study 2, Tom the Creative Freelancer. Tom used energy protocols to increase flow states. He implemented morning coherence and sound humming before creative sessions. Over 6 weeks, he produced more draft material per session. He reported fewer episodes of creative block. He used the plant experiment to document consistency. His targeted plant showed healthier new growth in weeks when he practiced daily before working. Case Study 3, Group Pilot at a Community Center. A small community center ran a 6-week group coherence pilot with 20 volunteers. They randomized weeks of daily practice with weeks of no practice and recorded self-reported stress, sleep quality, and task performance. Results were mixed but suggested improved self-reported stress and sleep during practice weeks. The pilot emphasized feasibility and acceptability rather than causal proof. 30, 60, 90-day progressive training plan, the concrete path. We'll now offer a detailed step-by-step curriculum you can follow. This plan assumes you can commit 15 to 45 minutes daily and want measurable progress.
30-day starter plan, foundation and habit formation. Goal: build daily practice and start simple experiments. Week 1, baseline week. Follow Week 1 schedule. Week 2, increase quick coherence duration to intermediate, 5-5-5, once per day. Start the plant influence trial. Week 3, add midday embodiment walk. Extend evening journaling to include objective notes. Start simple compass trials. Week 4, integrate nightly 5-minute sound humming after coherence. Analyze Week 1 experiment logs and summarize findings. Checkpoint: End of day 30. Compile week averages for sleep, pulse, and self-rated focus. Are you more consistent? Can you describe a specific incident where presence shifted an outcome? 60-day build. Consolidation and controlled testing. Goal: stabilize coherent states and run more rigorous testing. Weeks 5 to 8. Adopt core block 2. Increase practice total to 20 to 30 minutes per day. Expand plant and compass trials to include blind controls. Add cold splash progressions. Weeks 9 to 12. Begin the advanced block with longer coherent sessions, 10 to 15 minutes, and 2 longer integration sessions per week, 30 to 45 minutes. Checkpoint. End of day 60. Compare objective logs from day 0-30 versus day 31-60. Look for consistent improvements in sleep, HRV, if using devices, focus, and behavioral outcomes. 90-day mastery, application, and skill transfer. Goal: apply coherence to major life goals. Weeks 13 to 18. Create project-specific coherence rituals, e.g. pre-presentation sequence, creative priming. Start the group coherence test or join a peer accountability group. Track 90-day outcomes tied to specific projects, a promotion, a creative portfolio, a relationship repair attempt with consent. Weeks 14 to 24. Refine advanced techniques, tonal work, longer cold plunges for those who are ready, or guided breath retention under supervision. Continue rigorous documentation and replicate experiments. Checkpoint. End of day 90. Present a summary of documented changes, photographic evidence for plant trials, compass/electronics logs, and behavioral metrics. Celebrate progress and set new intentions. Templates for accountability and community replication. Shareable experiment sheet 1 page to exchange with peers. Weekly accountability checklist. Days practiced, experiment trials conducted, journal entries made. Community protocol for double-blind trials. Roles for randomizer, recorder, and practitioner. Advanced applications. How to use this work for real goals. Career clarity and decision-making. Use a 3-minute coherence ritual before drafting proposals, negotiating, or making complex decisions. The ritual helps reduce reactivity and increase clarity. Track decision outcomes and note whether your choices were more aligned with long-term goals. Creativity and flow. Apply a 10 to 15-minute coherence plus humming sequence before creative sessions. Tip: pair the first 5 minutes with free writing to capture emergent ideas.
Track output volume and subjective flow scores. Relationships and presence. Use micro-practices to cultivate presence before important conversations. 60 seconds of heart-focused breathing and a 1-sentence intention. I will listen fully. Consent is essential if you intend to practice energy work with partners. Health support and recovery, with clear medical caveat. For supporting recovery, use coherence to improve sleep and stress regulation, but always coordinate with medical professionals. Document subjective sleep quality and consult clinicians when pursuing complementary approaches. Ethical scenario examples. Scenario: you sense a partner's emotional distress and feel tempted to use your energy to change their mind. Ethics answer: ask permission first. May I offer a brief breathing practice with you? And respect refusal. Scenario: you're hired to facilitate a group coherence session. Ethics answer: obtain informed consent, provide safety notes, and avoid making medical claims. What mastery looks like. Markers and checkpoints. Somatic markers: reliable, replicable sensations, warmth, tingling, chest steadiness, and patterned hand sensations. Faster onset: a coherent state that emerges within minutes instead of after prolonged practice. Behavioral markers: more consistent task completion, fewer reactive emotional eruptions, clearer communication during stressful conversations. Objective markers: repeatable outcomes in controlled trials, e.g. consistent plant differences across repeated crossover trials. Improved HRV readings during practice sessions, if using devices appropriately. Troubleshooting common plateaus. Plateau: no sensations and increasing frustration. Action: reduce practice intensity. Return to beginner protocol. Remove expectation and document everything neutrally. Try different times of day and ensure hydration and sleep are adequate. Plateau: sensations but no behavioral change. Action: map micro-actions that translate coherent states into practical steps. For example, after coherence practice, write 1 immediate action and commit to completing it in 30 minutes. Plateau: physical discomfort during practice. Action: check posture, breathing length, hydration, blood sugar, reduce breath cycle times, and consult a professional if symptoms persist. Building a community and accountability. Peer replication groups increase methodological rigor and accelerate learning. Use simple shared documents, experiment sheets, weekly check-ins, and cross-validation of video evidence. Host monthly blind trials with rotating roles to reduce bias. Final, advanced protocols to explore, responsibly. Distant coherence work, ethical and consent-based. If you choose to practice with someone remotely, always obtain explicit consent and clarify the intention of the session. Use paired logs where each person notes the timing and subjective effects.
Treat distance practices as exploratory and document them carefully. Sound amplification and biofeedback integration. Combine coherence practice with HRV biofeedback for precise training. Use consumer devices mindfully and focus on trends across weeks rather than single-session data. Integrating with other modalities. Breathwork, somatic therapy, physical training, and psychotherapy can complement this work. Coordinate with professionals in your ecosystem and maintain clear boundaries about roles and responsibilities. A final advanced experiment idea for groups. Community replication study across 3 sites. Organize 3 independent teams to run identical 30-day protocols with starter experiments using the same templates. Collect anonymized aggregate data and compare across sites to look for consistent patterns. This is a way to move from anecdote to reproducible community science. Climax. Bring it back to the title. You came for a simple promise: unlock the secrets of energy manipulation before it's everywhere. The secret is not a hidden artifact or a magical incantation. It's the practical knowledge that attention, breath, and the heart's rhythm are tools you can learn to use deliberately. The practices in this program are the training curriculum for that skill. You've done the 60 to 90-second proof. You've been given the map of physiology and the safe progressions to build capacity. You have multiple verifiable experiments you can run and a 30, 60, 90 plan to scale practice into measurable change. The remainder, how far you go, depends on discipline, curiosity, and ethical responsibility. A short, final coherence practice to seal the learning, 60 to 90 seconds. Sit upright, feet flat, hands relaxed. Breathe 5-5-5 x 3 cycles, or 3-3-3 x 3 if you're a beginner. After your last exhale, place one hand over your heart. Bring to mind a single concrete image you appreciate, a face, a sound, a touch. And allow that feeling to fill the heart space for 2 breaths. Then, open your hands and extend them forward at about 8 inches apart for 20 seconds. Moving them toward and away slowly with curiosity. Note any sensation, warmth, tingling, lightness, or nothing. Breathe normally and, when ready, open your eyes. Journal 1 line, "Today I felt," and 1 action, "Tomorrow I will." Closing notes and the single next step. You're standing at an actionable frontier, neither pure fantasy nor settled science, but a practical laboratory for learning how attention and physiology cooperate. Over time, disciplined practice, careful measurement, and ethical use will separate mere anecdote from reliable scale. If you're ready to commit, subscribe and join the newsletter to receive the 30-day starter PDF and downloadable journal templates that match the protocols in this training. I'll send experiment sheets, a printable daily energy journal, and the exact 30-60-90 checklist so you can get started with clarity and community support.
This is not about instant miracles. It's about building a new operating system for how you show up in your life. Unlock the secrets now, practice responsibly, and watch what consistent small shifts can produce.